Welcome back, everyone, to the channel. My name's K-Dog. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the early game economy of New World. Some of the things that you should be crafting, some of the things to stay away from, what you should be selling, how really to work that in-game auction house to your biggest advantage and benefit. So first thing that I see a lot of people not really realizing, and is a huge way to waste money early in the game, is anything that you list, you should not be listing for over 1 day at a time. So when you're in the trading house or the auction house, I'll keep referring it to as the auction house throughout the video, I'm sure. When you're in the auction house, the default is to list an item for 14 days. There is a little drop down. You can click on that and select how long you want to list an item for. It's very important that you change this off of 14 days because it charges you more to list an item for that extended period of the time. And when you're in the first couple days in New World, the economy is going to be so all over the place and so not established that anything that you list day one, if it doesn't sell day one, it's not gonna sell for the price that you listed it at 14 days later. I can guarantee it. So all these prices are going to be very volatile, going up and down. But chances are anything that you list day one, it's going to be cheaper day two, etc., etc. It's not going to sell 14 days later. So just save yourself the listing price of that, which can be a lot of gold depending on it compares off of, or it balances off of how much you are charging for the item, and then the taxes in that as well in the area. So that's one thing to mainly pay out for. Like I said, day one, if an item doesn't sell that first day, it will be returned to your stash in that, or that your storage container in that particular town. So even if something doesn't sell, you lose the listing fee, which didn't cost you nearly as much, but then it goes back to your storage and you could relist it at whatever that item may be going for the next day or the day after. Like I said, I could maybe see an argument to list something for 3 days if you know for sure that that price point is something that it should sell at, but I don't really think the early game economy is the time to be doing that. Once the game gets established, yes, there can definitely be listing it for 14 days, make sure it sells all those high end game items, etc. But at the beginning of the game, the prices are going to be all over the place, so you don't want to waste your money. The other thing I want to touch base on before we get into the actual items is buy and sell orders and how they work. So sell orders are very straightforward. You click on sell, you click on the item you want to sell, you say how much you want to sell it for. Very straightforward. How long you want to sell it, very simple, easy to go. Buy orders, on the other hand, are something that are a little bit different and might be a little confusing if you're not sure of what they are. And they're twofold. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. I personally don't really use them as much, but it's something to keep an eye out for. So buy orders, what they are is you go into the auction house and you click on common health potions and you want to place a buy order. Say that there's none there listed for the price that you want. If you click buy order, you will say, I want to buy 100 common health potions at 2 gold a piece, and you put that in for your amount. You will then give the auction house the amount that it would cost for that. So 100 at 2 gold, you would pay the auction house 200, and your listing would be up there for somebody else to fill it, to come along and give you 100 health potions, and they would then get that $200. So pay attention to this because this is a way that a lot of newcomers get confused and sometimes list things very underpriced. So this is where I can say it can be an advantage and I look out for. You do see these when you're going to sell an item, any item, you'll see listed underneath the normal or what other items are generally up for sale for auction. You'll see any buy orders placed on these items. And sometimes people will mess up and say, oh, I want to buy iron ore, 200 iron ore for, 0.1 or something like that, or 5 gold or whatever, and it will work out in your favor. So you could just give them the items, and because they're listing it thinking that they're paying you 5 gold for 200, whereas actually it's 5 gold per individual item. So you'll actually end up way far ahead. You know, if somebody wants weak health potions, they're like, I'm going to pay 5 gold for 100 of them, thinking that's how it works, when instead they're paying 500 gold for 100 of them. So just keep in mind, make sure that you're not making any of those mistakes. I do recommend keeping an eye on them, just because the nice thing about buy and sell orders is that they are guaranteed. So if you're selling something, maybe the overall market price is a little bit higher. Say I'm just using health potions as this example as we keep going. Say your health potions are normally selling in your area for 10 gold at a time, common health potions or whatever, and somebody places a buy order for 8 gold a piece. Sometimes you may just want to sell it to that person for 8 gold a piece because it's guaranteed money, and you don't have to list and wait and hope that somebody buys it, because the money's already there, already in the auction house. So that is something to keep in mind. Like I said, you just got to kind of play around and pay attention to that side of it. All right, let's get into a lot of the items that day one you should be trying to sell. So we're going to go through kind of down the list, almost like the course of the day, and point out a couple things a little bit differently and how they work for the first couple days. So one of the main things that will be selling for a lot and very in high demand the first day is going to be river crests, petal caps, and slightly silver. And this will go all the way into day 2 in the first couple days, but especially money-wise, day 1, early half of day 2, these are going to be a lot higher up. Reason for this is that these are items that are required for the main quest, and obviously there's a limited amount of them. If people are out harvesting them, even if somebody is like running those quests and not paying attention to the auction house, if there are a bunch of gatherers running around just gathering up all of the river crests and petal caps, they're not going to be able to find any. They'll have to resort to the auction house to buy these items for the main quest. You need 3 petal crests and 3 petal cap, 3 river crests, and I think 3 water or something like that. If you're really hard up in an area, you can actually sell water. I've seen it. Cat's just jumping all over the camera. Don't mind that. Say you're in Windsward, you can actually take a lot of that water from the stream and go and sell it in Everfall, because people don't want to spend the time to actually sit there at the well and keep drawing it out. And I think it's limited per day on that well, but there's the other fountain like up by the church. But I have seen it done where people are buying water when it's an unlimited resource. It just depends on what town you're in and how easily accessible it is. But like I said, river crest especially, because it's a lot more limited than petal caps. Found by rivers. I have seen this during the closed beta. It was going for like the first 3 days up to 200 gold a piece. Obviously, during busy times or slow times, it changes down to 100 all the way down to like 75, day 3, day 4, depending on how much is on the market and how much is available, how many people are buying it, etc. But that is a very high ticket item the first day and a half. Same with petal caps. Those are a little more common, listed a little bit cheaper, but same concept applies. Next thing you'll want to kind of be looking out for, if you are interested, is wood and charcoal. So you would think that wood, it wouldn't sell that much, and charcoal, very easy to make, but wouldn't sell that much for that much either. But actually, it sells for a lot. Crafters need, and engineers or people using the forges, all that, need charcoal to make their items. So especially it comes into play with making bullets and things like that. And people don't want to take the time, because people are lazy as a whole, and that's where we make our money as economy people. People don't want to take the time to go out, chop down trees, come back, turn it into charcoal, which I understand. If you're trying to just make money on their end, crafting all these bullets and things like that, they don't want to spend half an hour doing that. So that's where you can make your money to supply that for them. So charcoal and wood actually is a very good source of making money. Also, if you want to spend the time doing that. Speaking of bullets and saltpeter, day 1. Great money. If you are an engineer and you want to deal with that, making the bullets, you'll make great money because everybody needs bullets for their muskets. Saltpeter is something that is needed and only found in a couple of places for engineers to make their bullets. Great area for saltpeter, probably the best in my opinion in the early game area. There's a couple like smaller caves that have it, like in Windsward and things like that. But there is a huge saltpeter cache in the northwest region of Everfall. Make sure you guys are checking out that interactive map from New World fans. I'll link it again in this video as well. But you can see where it is there, and there's so much saltpeter there, so definitely try and get up there and utilize that and then sell it on the market. First couple days, it sells for anything from 2 gold for one all the way down. I still think it's reasonable if you're selling it at half a gold piece or 75, 3/4 gold piece and all that. You still make good money because you make 50 per stack. Potions. By the end of day 1, weak health potions probably aren't going to be selling for anything. At the beginning, they will sell for a little bit, but by the end of the day 1, not so much, because the crafters, the high sop that you use to make weak health potions, just high sop and water. Very easy to grab. Same with the mana potions as well. The weak version variants, very easy to grab. By the end of day 1, not selling for much, very minuscule. Like they'll be like 10 cents by day 2 because everybody is just crafting them very easy. That being said, if you can get up to common health potions and start gathering those ingredients for common health potions and selling those day 1, day 2, you will make a lot of money, because the ingredients for those are, once again, hard to come by. Silver is similar to the river crest. Life blooms are semi-rare. Check out the map for a couple places for them, but it does require extensive kind of gathering to make an adequate amount of them. Normally, even one of my life bloom run down in first light, I only get like maybe 10 life bloom stems at a time, so I'm not mass producing these potions. And then once again, if you want, you can go and harvest those life blooms and then sell those to crafters to make those health potions. So another really couple good items there. Last couple things that I wanted to say day 1 that are good for selling: iron ore and ingots. And that will always be the case. It's just the price will fluctuate, but especially day 1 for people trying to get their crafting up, and that as well as quests. Another thing, just kind of get their starting tools, etc. Speaking of tools, iron tools, everybody will be pretty much able to make at the beginning, but making either Azoth infused iron tools, or especially if by the end of the first day, going into the second day, if you could be the person that gets up to steel tools, say halfway or 3/4 of the way through the first day, and is selling steel tools with how much of a bonus they give to gathering and all sorts, you will make a lot of money there as well, and also have a huge leg up setting the price for your server or in that city for how much steel tools are going to be going for, because these are very desirable as you get up towards level 20 and allow you to gather at, instead of 125%, which is iron, they bring you all the way up to 250%. The other thing, as you're transitioning day 1 into day 2, satchels, backpacks, huge money makers. I would say if you are not on my server, if you're on my server, you should just buy your first tier satchel from me. Thanks. If you're not on my server, I would recommend just crafting your very first satchel. All it takes is that the tier 2 one, it gives you a 100-pound increase. It's very easy to get the ingredients for. It's just the coarse leather in that, and the hardest part is getting the minor rune of holding from the faction, which costs 100 faction points, but it will save you a lot of money there. That being said, I have seen that first tier of bags in the first couple days, first 2-3 days, that gives you a 100-pound increase in weight. If they have magical properties that are good, like luck or things like that, they can sell anywhere from 750 up to, I've seen them sell for 1,500 gold first couple days. So a great way to make money is constructing those, because it takes those 1,000 faction tokens to get the minor root of holding. It is a little bit difficult. Like I said, I suggest crafting it personally for yourself, but then after that, go ahead and sell it. It'll make you money. Going into day 2, transitioning day 1 into day 2, a lot of these items. Next couple things, of course, bigger bags, the tier 3 bags, if you're able to make them. This is a lot of reliant on what's getting upgraded in your territory and that, but I guarantee by the end of day 2, people will be in that 30-ish level, getting up towards 40 by the end of day 3. So people are going to be grinding this really hard the first couple days, but that second tier of backpack that gives you 150 pounds of weight, I was making these during the closed beta and selling the magically infused ones for about 3,000 a bag, and they were selling. Now, I have seen them sell for lower towards the end of the beta and that, but we're talking day 2, day 3, even into day 4, these bags can still sell for a very hefty price. Higher level potions, same thing as well, very reliant on what the area is for you, whether it has a leveled up alchemist station, etc. But I would say common health potions are still probably your biggest money maker earlier on, even into day 2. I don't know that you really need the next level just because there aren't going to be as many people able to use it, nor will they want to be spending 80 or 100 gold or whatever the greater health pots, which is normally what they start out at, is normally around that when I've seen them in the economy wise. They don't want to spend that much. So stick to probably making the common health potions moving forward. Make sure if you have a run, you're still selling Rivercrest and Petal Caps. Price may go down, will probably go down a little bit, but you're still going to make money for the people that didn't get on minute 1. Day 2 is also when you should start trying to get furniture for housing, mainly the furniture chests that increase storage. So by day 2, there's going to be the sweats. There's going to be all the people that own territories. There are going to be people that already own houses. And one of the best products that you could have in a house is the storage chest. Even the tier 1 storage chest, the very basic storage chest, I believe increases your weight in your storage for that town by 150 pounds just by having it in your house in that town. So these are a great thing to sell because a lot of people don't take up furniture as a trade for that early on. So this is a great way for you to sell those and make some money and take advantage of it for a very relatively easy skill. Like I said, I wouldn't focus on this till day 2 though, at least because there are not going to be as many people with houses at the beginning. Bullet wise, still stick with iron bullets. In my opinion, steel bullets and that don't really start picking up that next level bullets, having a demand for them until day 3, going into day 4, etc. I haven't seen a huge demand for those the first couple days of a beta. It really kind of takes a couple days to really get into the next higher tiers of bullets because the modifier is not that great and the price difference is, not there. But it will happen probably around day 3 or 4, so just keep in mind. But day 2, just keep making your iron bullets, and that's where you're going to make your money. And then moving on, day 2, day 3, this is when a good thing to sell is going to be jewelry. So as folks get higher level up, they're going to unlock the amulets, the different ring slots in their 20s, all the way up to the earrings at level 40. And people are going to be looking for jewelry that fits their role. Some of the drops, there are jewelry drops in game and expeditions, but a lot of those are just a lot of those are locked when it comes to the stat that they have on them and does not fit every role. So there's a very small amount, in my opinion right now, of jewelry as drops in expeditions and just out in the world. So this is a huge avenue for folks to make money. Say you're just making, okay, I'm going to make an intelligence and constitution or intelligence focus, or just making all these different stat-based rings, amulets, earrings, and all that, and you will make a lot of money there as well during closed beta. One of my guild members was the only person on the server in Windsward that was selling any amulets or anything at all and just making buku money. It was insane. So that's pretty much going all the way up through day 2 into day 3. Like I said, the economy early game is going to be very volatile, but these are the items that you definitely want to look out for and possibly selling or buying and reselling ingredients, things like that, to make all of these items. Now, I didn't mention crafting weapons or armor in any of this. The reason for that is the way that weapons and armor and crafting is right now in New World as of the closed and open beta, unfortunately, is kinda bad, simply put, compared to what it was before. Just the items that you can craft, by the time that you get to the level to use them, you're finding world drops that are better than that. And I really hope this changes before launch, and I really hope I'm wrong. But any of your crafted weapons in the early to mid game are not really going to be used or wanted or bought by adventurers. And even myself as a crafter, I like the alchemy station. I use my staves very often. By the time I was getting up into, you know, the tier 3, tier 4 staffs, I already had things from dungeon runs that were 100 gear score higher before I could even craft something usable on those stations. So hopefully they adjust that a little bit, but as of the open beta, I would not recommend crafting those items to sell. Use those ingredients to craft some of the other items that I've recommended. Crafting will be viable in late game to make some of that in-game gear or that very high tier 5 gear, but early game, it's just not worthwhile to craft and sell those items. You can craft other items with, say, it's iron. Instead of crafting iron gear, you can use that iron to make it's an ingredient for backpacks and things like that, or just sell it on the open market and people will buy it to make bullets. So there's a lot more efficient ways to use it than crafting weapons and armor at the beginning. So that's that. That's a couple of the tips that I wanted to point out for early game economy. Remember, only list for one day, and make sure that you're not putting up buy orders for a small amount of money thinking, or a large amount of money thinking that's a small amount of money. Can't wait to see you all guys can't wait to see everybody at launch. If you have any questions or any other comments, thoughts about the early game economy as we get close to it, we've got about a week left right now. Let me know in the comments below. Make sure that you guys haven't hit that subscribe button. It really does help me out. We're going to have a lot more videos as the game starts to launch. And without further ado, I will see you guys later.